What's up, everybody? We're here to review the new deck truck toolbox. We're going to talk about the benefits, the features, and what we've done to make this toolbox different than any other toolbox on the market. I'm Greg Randolph, so welcome back here to another episode of Deck 101. You all have a pickup truck. If you're watching this, hard-working person, you bought the truck because of the bed. They're awesome. We all love pickup trucks, but the one thing that pickup trucks didn't really keep in mind was that you need a place to store, organize, protect, and access all your tools. You're in and out of the back of your truck a lot. You've got a lot of things you're carrying around. You might be shifting your scenario. And so we've all done a bunch of different things to solve that storage, organization, and access problem. And a common popular product is the crossover toolbox, the saddle box as they're called. But there's some pain involved with owning one of these things. Probably the most obvious thing, if you've ever owned one, is you don't really have a way to get in there and get your stuff out of the back of your truck. Once it's in here, you either got to crawl in the back of your truck, lower the tailgate, get on your knee, crawl in there, or step on your tire and do some gymnastic move to get into there. And I'm 6 feet tall, and I don't have a prayer of getting anything that's not in the first 6 inches of this thing, and I'm certainly not reaching anything on the bottom. And then I'm doing some weird, pull your shoulder and tear your neck muscles out to get anything heavy out of here. So we're an ergonomics company. We like to make things better for people that are working hard. And one thing we thought would be a pretty good idea is put the peanut butter and chocolate together. We all have ladders, and we all have toolboxes, so why not put a ladder inside of a toolbox? Our answer here is a very low profile 6000 series aluminum ladder. It's really easy to use. Open the lid, click it out, drops to the ground, so about the amount of time it takes you to open your tailgate. And then instead of crawling in the back or stepping on the tire, like I said, it's nice and easy. You can just step up here, reach in the box. You can reach 2/3 of the way across your toolbox all the way to the bottom and get whatever you're trying to get. And we think that that's a really clever way for you to be able to get your stuff out of the box whenever you need to get it. It's an accessory. It's optional with the toolbox. You can buy it with one. You can buy it without. If you bought one, without it, you want to get it later, it comes a la carte on our website, and you can buy another ladder and stick it in there. Put it back in. It's pretty simple. Goes right back in. Close the toolbox, and you didn't have to do all that knee and back wrenching, exercise to get whatever you wanted. So all your tools are in here. They're dry. They're secure. You're pretty happy. And then, you think about the other things that, kind of stink about toolboxes. They dent. They might rust if it's made from steel. Obviously, aluminum doesn't rust, but if it's aluminum, it's going to dent. Sometimes they come pre-dented. When you get it at the dealer, the shipping company, whatever, already put a dent in it for you, and we don't think that's very cool. Someone stands on the top of your box to maybe, get something, or if you have a fuel cell in there to fuel up a vehicle, and it turns your lid into a potato chip. This is made from a high-impact polymer resin. It's, think like football helmet would be a good example, something that can really take a beating. But, we designed this thing, I can show you. I got a 4-pound sledge here, straight from the hardware store, and support the local economy. Look at this thing. You can you get the point. The surface looks, it's got a little bit of marking from the steel on here, but it's just like it was before. And that means that your box is going to look just as good as it did, a year from now or 5 years from now is when you bought it. And then another thing with aluminum and steel is most of the time when someone tries to break into a toolbox, their favorite trick is, some meth head running around your neighborhood in the middle of the night. He's got a crowbar. He's like, I wonder what's in there. And so the next thing he does, he gets something like this and he starts, wrenching on it, prying on it, trying to get in there. Usually you see a toolbox driving down the road. It's got part of it's curled up because some guy thought he could get into it by doing that. And I just tweaked this thing and it looks like it did before. So I think that having a toolbox that doesn't bend and doesn't dent, that's a good thing. And then while we're talking about the way the things look, your truck is 2010, 2020, 2021 or 22 if you're lucky right now. Your toolbox looks like it did in 1980. And I mean, we're not really that vain, but you know, we like things that look nice. Your truck looks super cool, your tools look cool now. So we thought we could make a toolbox that looked like it came from this decade, maybe even this century. So the injection molded resin lets us, design a toolbox that looks really good, that even if it gets used and abused, it'll look just as good as it does, 5 years from now as it does when you get it out of the box from us. So that's, one real advantage of using a molded approach to this. We've all seen some plastic boxes in the back of trucks and they don't look very good. It's because it's cheap plastic. There also is a drinking game in this video. Every time I say box or toolbox, you got to drink. So the next thing that's a real bummer, and you'll probably notice this a lot of times, especially if someone tried to break into a toolbox, is they're not very waterproof. And you've got expensive tools, you've got metal things, you don't want to have water on them. And when you make something that's injection molded, you can do a lot of things you can't when you're fabricating something. And I think you could think about this as it's like a Pelican case on steroids. So the first thing when you open it, you'll notice that there's this big upstanding lip that goes all the way around. It's radiused, it doesn't have any sharp angles, it's not gonna crack or fail on you like a metal lip would. And molding allows us in the molding process to engineer all these features into the shape of the product without having to bend and break and weld and cut steel. So you have this big upstanding lip, it's got a big drip edge. When it closes, you'll notice that the face of the edge of the toolbox goes way over there. So water would really have to crawl uphill to get into your stuff. But water's the bane of everyone's existence when it comes to metal things and expensive things. So there's a bulb seal that's in a channel in the lid. And when this thing closes, that bulb seal gets compressed on top of this lip. And you basically have almost a Tupperware tight-like seal in your box. The other cool thing, now I got the lid open, you can see a little bit more what's going on inside of here. When we talk about theft, through the lid, if you were to try to get through the lid, which you could figure it out, a thief can break into your truck faster than they'll break into most other things, there's a galvanized steel hat. This is another layer of theft protection, but also what this hat does is it creates a torsion box, which makes the lid really rigid so it closes nicely from either side. You have a nice handle to grab onto, and it's a really easy to operate toolbox for you. And that lid, that hat, if you were to take a Sawzall or something like that and try to cut through the lid, which you could, you'd end up in a galvanized steel hat that would, then you're gonna wake up the neighbors. So that's another really nice feature that we thought about when designing this box for you. It operates on a single lock on the driver's side, and you can see the locking mechanism on the inside here. If you compromise the lock itself, if you beat on it, you're still not gonna be able to open the toolbox, but we all know if you're a locksmith, you're gonna pick the lock. So we did the best we could. It's not Fort Knox, but it's probably as close as you're gonna get in a toolbox product. The other thing about resin is obviously it doesn't rust like steel does. And then all this metal hardware you see here is cast aluminum that's powder coated. These are aluminum, these are structural girders. They actually carry the payload of the toolbox. You can put 500 pounds in here on a 150-degree day and go off-roading, and this thing will be just as straight, just as rigid, and maintain its shape just the way it does in any other normal kind of conditions. One thing you'll notice that's missing from this are gas struts. If you own a nicer crossover toolbox, it has a gas strut usually that helps the lid open and close and keeps the lid open. That's fine, but we all know that those things fail over time and they leak, they run out of air. When it gets cold, they start to lose their ability to keep things open, especially if the wind's blowing. So what we did is we have a spring steel torsion spring in the box here. I'll show you in a sec. And that's kind of like, on a hood of an old Volkswagen Bug or something like that. Those things have been going around here for 50, 60 years. And it just never loses its life. It makes the lid, almost open itself. And instead of having a gas strut that's gonna fail, it's a torsion spring. It'll last the life of your pickup truck. And we thought that was really important because no one wants to be trying to go down to the hardware store or to the auto parts store and find the right little strut to put into their toolbox. The other thing that we've thought about is, what little organizational solutions can we come up with for your toolbox, because these things are basically, it's like a big coffin. It doesn't give you a lot of ways to create modularity or storage inside of it. So on the driver's side over there, we've got a D-box, which is a really popular toolbox that we make, a smaller toolbox, and something we call the snack tray. And that gives you two other storage and accessibility options for keeping your peas separated from your carrots in the back of your truck. So then in addition to the modular storage we talked about, there's a few other cool features you'll notice here. One is we've included these tie downs on either side of the box here. You can hook a ratchet strap or any kind of tie down. You need to tie a loop, you want to hold something in your box, up against the box. Maybe you have a motorcycle or I don't know, a tool chest or some other thing there. We just gave you a couple tie downs, seemed like a nice feature to have. I'm sure you're gonna have a good use for it. And you'll be able to pretty much secure most of the things you need and still have the use of the rest of your toolbox here. It's a super easy install. You don't have to drill any holes into your truck bed. We use basically like a lot of toolboxes. There's a clamp and a screw, and that clamp grabs the bed rail of your truck and tightens it down. It's locked inside of the lid, so you can't remove this toolbox without opening the lid and then using a 7/16 socket to pull these two screws out from each side and undo the clamp that's grabbing your bed rail. Just like all of our products, the deck toolbox is made in the USA. We're really proud to be able to make all of our products here in America. That's how we get such a high quality product. And we back it with a lifetime warranty. So if anything goes wrong with this thing, we got your back. Just tell us a good story. And every single time we do these videos, really appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, concerns, need more information, please do not hesitate to hit us up using the comments of this video. You can contact us via the good old phone. You can use our email addresses that are on our website. Social media, we always answer in the comments and DMs and smoke signals, whatever you need to communicate with us, we're here for you. We want to make you a customer. We appreciate you watching this video and look forward to getting one of these toolboxes in the back of your pickup.